Hello and welcome to the 17th Annual Holidays at Highfield. We're so glad to have you with us today. I'd like to introduce our lead designers this year who created this phenomenal experience for everybody to enjoy, and we are so looking forward to you joining us the last 2 weekends, so please schedule some time to come visit us. We've got Sandra Cavallo, one of our lead designers, and Sarah Pring, who together came up with the idea of holidays through the generations, and it truly is a magnificent viewing of vignettes throughout each decade. So with that, I'm going to let them carry you through the decorations and explain a little bit more about what you'll see when you come visit.
So we wanted to take you, once you stepped inside, we wanted to take you from the 1900s and take you on a journey through really 100 years.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the really fun things for us was kind of walking through these decades and understanding, what holidays might have been like and what life would have been like. And I think it was really fun and inspiring for us to be able to, put that out there, let people see it, and as they walk through, like to notice those things. The entryway was really, we wanted was that it would be a magical entry into a different time. So that's what inspired us to do this.
We're trying to think, what is our theme going to be? The Highfield curator gave us some great information. She gave us a family history, and she also started to show us original documents that were related in some way to Christmas here at Highfield. And so the one that we got so excited about was...
Right, the Christmas list. Frank Beebe had his Christmas list of all the gifts that he was going to give to the people in the community and to his friends. So we just thought that that's where we had to start.
So a 1900s Christmas parlour imagined for how the Beebe family would have spent their Christmas morning. And so we knew that Victorian times we wanted to show the very deep colours and the rich fabrics, and
over the top ornate.
Yes, exactly. Tabletop Christmas tree, because that's very evocative of that era. We did a sort of display of toys, a lot of Victorian toys. The sense of Christmas morning. And
right.
You had the wonderful idea of putting these birds' nests in the stockings, and it's just such a surprise and such a nice touch. And there's touches like that all the way through to discover. We won't tell you all of them, but there's some really wonderful, surprising touches all the way through. One lovely aspect of the whole project was we were having to borrow and find all the little pieces that would make up the vignettes for each room. And Sandra and I, half our houses are here, and the staff have raided their grandmother's cupboards and everything. But we also we had the help of Hand in Hand thrift store, which is the service centre's thrift store, and they've lent us almost 200 items.
Yeah, they did. They had so many great things, and we got so inspired there. It really helped us to see the generations, the different decades. So when you go through a shop like Hand in Hand, it was like, oh, this is so 20s. Wow, this is totally 40s. And now, we literally got the inspiration for the 50s room by those little frosted glasses, and
right.
Everything came together just
right.
from those little glasses. So it was great to work with them, and they were really helpful, generous.
Yes, and what's
really
lovely
fun.
is everything's going to go back there after the show has closed here, and it's going to be sold. It's from the 13th of December, and then it's going to say as seen at Holidays at Highfield. So hopefully people will go in.
That's awesome.
Shop.
So everybody can go and see the stuff. They see it here, and then they can go get it there.
And we also had help from all the supporters of Highfield.
I mean, people came forward, right, with everything.
Yeah, and the evening bags and all these things sort of suddenly brought extra life and connection to the show.
Yeah, it was really nice to have the whole community kind of just pitching in to help. And a lot of volunteers came and helped.
Yes, and they brought stuff as well.
It's going to be tough to break all this down.
Yeah.
So here we are in the 20s, and I think the concept for this was, we had this over-the-top
1900s room, Victorian. We really wanted for the 20s to play on Prohibition, and so we made this like a great cocktail party, right? So
a 1920s cocktail
rebellious, and we wanted to play on a little bit of a femininity here and make it sparkly and fun.
A very sort of decadent, opulent display, and a real contrast from the deep dark colours of the Victorian era to a sort of crystal and silver and light and bright.
Right, sparkle.
Yeah. When we were doing our research, we were looking at images, obviously from the different eras, and again we wanted to choose very distinct things, like the small modest Christmas tree on the table lit by candles, and then here a really enormous tree, and we actually followed very closely an image that we had showing this sort of icicle tinsel cascading down, so it looks so opulent and decadent.
Over the top.
And so it really contrasts nicely the two areas of the same room. And we had, the Victrola was donated, and it has a whole lot of records from that era. So we put some out so that people could see them. So yes, it's a party I'd quite like to go to.
Yeah.
We decided to do a sort of 1930s ski lodge outdoor spot where perhaps you'd be having hot chocolate and you'd be sitting taking in the view of the lake and that kind of thing. And in the 30s there was a real emergence of outdoor sports, outdoor pursuits, skiing and skating, and so it fit very well with that fashionable pastime.
What I loved about this, the way this area came out this year, I loved that the lace little valance that we put up on the ski poles really brings your attention to the windows, the stained glass windows above it. It feels very natural up here, and yet it allows you to see the architecture, which is pretty detailed and ornate. But it does feel cozy and outdoorsy, and this area for me makes me want to come sit, have a cup of hot chocolate, and just relax and enjoy it. It feels like a little cozy nook. So I like that. I love the way this area came out.
We also, because obviously it's very high ceilings here, we also wanted to do something to draw your eye up and to make use of the stairwell. So we used the stringing these fun snowballs just as a light-hearted piece, and then the gorgeous paper stars that are all lit from within. So the 1940s, we wanted to focus on the war period and a living room during the Second World War, and the family. The idea was it was a family whose son has gone off to war, and there's a picture there which was our sort of starting point, and the family's at home celebrating Christmas but hoping that the son will return soon or will be back home for next Christmas.
And we have the old radio, which was where people would gather and listen to what was happening, the news.
So we were lent lots of items from different people, and that helped us create the vignettes. So the 1940s Bakelite phone was lent to us. The uniform, which was actually they were called the Grey Ladies. They were the volunteers during the war, and the lovely little doll set that was actually lent to us from Hand in Hand, all the military dolls, and all these things we used to create a sense of it being wartime and the sort of respect people felt for those who were away serving their country. Because the 1950s, the colours that were so evocative of the era, the mint green and the reds, obviously for Christmas that's perfect. And we did get a lot of items. We almost got too many, and it was almost overwhelming to like, how do we arrange them in ways that kind of looks attractive and looks inviting for people to come in and sort of explore. We had this lovely book that someone lent us, which is, it's almost falling apart, but it's got all well-used, well-loved recipes, and we wanted this to be the heart of the home, where Christmas baking was happening. And lots of gingerbread, lots of old-fashioned candy.
And these were those glasses from Hand in Hand.
that started us off.
Started us off, and we were like, that is where we're going.
We were also given some wonderful vintage ornaments, which we've put in various jars that someone lent us from their collection. And the vintage ornaments are so pretty. They've got such a lovely patina to them that we wanted to kind of show those off. Oh, and we got the ceramic Christmas trees as well. Those were
those classics.
Wonderful.
This feels really nostalgic to me, like almost something I could relate to. It was really, it was fun and colorful, and it felt very Christmassy. This really had like, oh, this was Christmas when I was a kid.
The 60s, one of the days when we went round hand in hand, I said, what we're really looking for the 1960s is an aluminium Christmas tree. And she said, well, we haven't got one at hand in hand, but my husband has his favourite aluminium Christmas tree up in the attic. And so he lent it to us. So it's amazing because with the colour disc, and even the instructions for it were wonderful because it said, don't put any lights on the tree because of a fire risk. So, so we didn't. We got some great little 45s and the Barbie and Ken dolls, and it's
the old record player, the portable record player that you could bring to your girlfriend's house.
Yeah.
With the 70s, we have the disco balls, and we have the big colored lights that were used then, and the patchwork quilts, the crocheted Afghans, and the
paper chains,
the paper
and
chains.
The tinsel were all very evocative of that time.
And fondue was a big thing then. We've got a phone that was from that era, so we're using those same elements throughout, so that we can really see the transition.
So that phone was called a princess phone, and it was the first phone that was designed specifically for women to go on their bedside tables.
Yes, exactly.
So this room is the present day room, and we wanted it to bring together elements from all the eras, but in a modern way, in a way that we wanted to hope that people will find an inviting scene for an intimate dinner for two.
Today, what we're conscious of is recycling and repurposing and reusing. So, and using things in new, fresh ways from the past, vintage things, but also combining it with all kinds of natural things.
We just thought showing moss in a copper pan, it might not be something you'd immediately think of to do, but it looks just so wonderful. Or using cones but turning them upside down so that the amazing sort of
flowers.
pattern on the base of the cones is visible.
We really wanted it to feel very intimate, and so we've used a collection of globes, glass globes, which are just simple, like you can get at Michael's, little simple globes, and we put them on all kinds of bases. So these are like artillery brass that have been cut into a base, old flour sifters. So by creating these bases and lifting these globes up on different levels, and then creating scenes rather than doing flower arrangements but creating scenes inside of them, makes you feel a little bit more intimate. It like really sends that intimate message. This room is intimate. This is an intimate dinner, and look at these little animals. That proves it. You have to look close.
Look closely. Yeah,
you have
look
to
closely.
Look close at these little globes to see the detail.
You really do look to inspire people, to get them excited about the holiday and about decorating their own homes. And there's no sense in coming here if you can't take something away that inspires you to do something like that at home, or that you feel like that was a great experience.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope that Sandra and Sarah provide you with some great inspiration here at Holidays at Highfield. We welcome you to come join us. We are open for the next 2 weekends from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are also other things to enjoy here at Holidays at Highfield. We've got the creche room, of course, the gift shop, we have a story room, we have a craft room, and of course a new story walk book in our Beech Tree Path. So there truly is something here for everyone, and we hope you'll come along and join us this year.